All of you are welcome to the group. You do become a subscriber by the end of this film. The first XRP ETF was officially announced not long ago, and it went live yesterday. With this ETF, buyers will be able to get twice as much exposure to XRP. Of course, this is the first ETF that was allowed in the US, that I think will set the tone for all the other stories to also be accepted. This really excites me, and I believe it will have a big effect on XRP. Like Bitcoin ETFs, it works a lot like that. I know that a lot of people will say that the Ethereum ETFs didn't really get that much attention and weren't that popular. But XRP is different because it has a lot more buzz around it. For example, when regular people think about how much things are worth, they look at Bitcoin and say, okay, well, it's $70,000 per Bitcoin. That costs a lot of money. Even Ethereum was about $3,000 back when ETFs weren't allowed. When it comes to XRP, it's moving between $1 and $2. We looked at it and thought, well, that's pretty cheap. Let me buy some of this ETF because I think it might go up. Who knows, maybe I'll do a 10x, 20x, or 50x. Just the thought of something being less expensive is enough to get people to buy it. Now that we've thought about it again, what kinds of flows did this record, since it went live already? This shows that $5 million worth of trades were made in the XRP2 XRP ETF on its first day. Very good, especially given how the market is right now. That puts it in the top 5% of all new ETFs, and 4 times what the 2x Solana ETF sold for. But both are still 200x less than King IBIT. When the Bitcoin ETF was approved, it was the first crypto ETF to be approved in a way that was similar to a spot position for Bitcoin. It came from BlackRock too, so we need to use common sense to think about this. It was clear that the XRP ETF would not beat it. It's the same with Solana. That said, the fact that it did get more money than the Solana ETF shows how much people want XRP, especially given the way the market is right now. I have to agree with Eric. I should say that the market in that area is pretty bad right now. It's pretty good that we had over $5 million in traffic on the first day. And of course, we'll see how this works over the next few weeks. That being said, I think this will continue to go pretty well. The good thing about this ETF is that now all the other ETF players can see how well it's doing and make their case for why they should also have an XRP ETF. It makes me think that, as I already said, all the other ETFs will trade live much faster. We'll have to watch for sure. Check out what goes on here. But I do believe XRP ETFs will cause a lot of change. I also think they will do very well with XRP. Aside from that, Ripple did give us a big boost. The deal for Ripple to buy prime brokerage Hidden Road for $1.25 billion is the biggest deal the digital asset company has ever made and one of the biggest in the history of the coin industry. These are huge. Now I'd like to read some notes from people who work at Ripple. First we have from Brad Garlinghouse, who is the CEO of Ripple. Hidden Road was bought by Ripple for $1.25 billion today. This is one of the biggest deals in the history of cryptocurrency. The price isn't the most important thing though. This deal is a once-in-a-lifetime chance for crypto to get into the biggest and safest standard markets, and it also works the other way around. Prime brokers, along with other important roles that were mostly handled by banks in the past, like Hidden Road, have proven to be the go-to people for the biggest hedge funds, market makers, OTC desk, quant traders, and more. Binance has been a user of Hidden Road for many years, so we know how skilled they are at clearing $3 trillion a year for more than 300 of the world's largest banks. This is the money and activity that will use the XRP system and make instant, efficient, scalable, and cheap value transfers possible. Instead of having to wait 24 hours for deals to settle on fiat rails, Hidden Road will clear some trades using the XRP ledger. It's now a part of deals at first. Because of how well the XRP system and XRP work, I do think this will actually grow a lot. They will also use RUSD as collateral for all of their prime trading services, such as trades between crypto assets and traditional instruments. With this deal and Ripple's strong balance sheet behind it, Hidden Road will be able to service its flow much more quickly and easily, making it the biggest non-bank prime broker in the world. Together, Ripple and Hidden Road are a huge step forward that can really connect the worlds of traditional and decentralized banking right now. The official word on this is about to be given, but not before we look at a few other statements. Take a moment to consider how strong this is. So Ripple bought Medeco, and Medeco helped them make deals with banks like HSBC, DZ Bank, and Deca Bank. You saw Ripple's business side grow when it bought that other company. Once more, Medeco was linked to some pretty big players in the business world. But what it didn't have were more than 300 of the world's best banks. With this purchase, Ripple was able to get more than 300 new customers from some of the biggest institutions in the world. And that's $3 trillion a year. This is the capital that we are seeing from Brad Garlinghouse, CEO of Ripple. It is an activity that will use XRP and the XRP ledger's main feature, fast, efficient, scalable, and low-cost value transfer. We could say that it might not be the whole $3 trillion if we let our minds wander, but I do believe that this is the start of trillions of dollars crossing the XRP system. This is a very important statement. Aside from this, Ashish Birla has also said a few other things. He serves on the board of Ripple and used to work there too. For a good user experience, there needs to be a lot of value around tokenized assets, stablecoins, real-world assets, and other things. Getting this is exciting for me. Yes, because this will make a big difference in the amount of cash available. It's a big step toward widespread use of Ripple goods, the XRP ledger, and XRP for tokenized purposes. We're talking about who gets custody. We're talking about tokenization in a broad sense. More and more, we're talking about RAST use cases. Guys, this makes me really happy. We also have from David Schwartz, who is the CTO of Ripple. When Ripple bought Hidden Road, it was a turning point for the XRP system and XRP itself. Over 50 million trades happen every day on different traditional rails, and the prime broker clears more than $10 billion. That's $10 billion every day, having to wait up to 24 hours for those deals to go through. Now picture even a small amount of that action on the XRP ledger. That's exactly what Hidden Road is going to do. Also, security and real-world assets that are tokenized on the XRP ledger could be used in the future. Guys, please understand that even though the market conditions in this area are terrible right now, this tells us that there is a storm going on right now. The storms will pass, and then something very special will happen. The sun will be out. The sky is going to be clear, and I think people will then understand what's going on behind the scenes. The goal of this deal is $3 trillion, or $10 billion per day, or 50 million transactions per day. Now, a big chunk of that will be hitting the XRP ledger. I think this will grow into more than just a piece. A huge deal though, and a huge deal for XRP and the XRP. Finally, we have Anthony Welfare, who was also employed by Ripple in the past. Imagine that $3 trillion worth of assets move through the XRP ledger every year. It's about to start. This is crazy. And this is the full news. Ripple will add billions of dollars to Hidden Road's capital to give it instant scale and meet demand for its prime brokerage clearing and financing platform. Roused is the first stablecoin to make it easy to cross-margin digital assets with traditional markets. This strengthens its place as a top-tier enterprise-grade stablecoin backed by USD.